Super Mariomon has officially taken the world by storm. Everyone from all corners of the internet is playing Alpharad's newly released passion project. Casual playthroughs, speedruns, even a dedicated showdown server for competitive battles. There are so many different ways to experience and enjoy Super Mariomon. My personal favorite? Spending 50 hours of my life doing extensive research for a Nuzlocke tier list. I wanted to discover the most powerful capture in all of Super Mariomon, so I dedicated myself to testing each and every single one of them and compiling all of my newfound data into this colorful spreadsheet so we could answer once and for all who solos the Marioverse. Before you type that angry comment about your favorite Mario enemy not being an S tier, realize this is just my personal opinion from my own personal experiences. Super Mariomon provides the player with loads upon loads of resources to make every individual capture as powerful as possible. So any of these monsters have multiple opportunities to look busted, but I wanted to find the ones that stand tall above the rest in the context of an average Nuzlocke playthrough. With all that being said, let's analyze my findings. Obviously, we got to start with our starters here. This is why I'm glad I did this tier list though. This is why I'm glad I did such extreme testing, because this is what I thought that it would look like. But after playing the game, I've come to realize that it's more like this. I think they all shine during different parts of the game. The thing that really sets King Bob-omb apart from the rest of them, King Bob-omb is a fire fighting type, and that just matches up so well into like every single random trainer. There's a ton of steel types in this game. There's a ton of rock types, so like you can just kind of breeze through with King Bob-omb. And then Blooper just has a super low defense stat. And this guy just doesn't really come online, but once he comes online, he actually does pretty well. I would say that there's a lot of other water types that sort of do the same thing, and I guess you could say the same for Blarg. It's like, but let's just drag him in here. Yeah, we'll put Blarg up here for now. That's gonna be an easy S tier, but it's like this guy is more unique in the fire type role than these two are in either the water or the grass type role. And I think that's really what sets them apart. I mean, I think Petey's still probably the best grass type in the game. Yeah, I think so. I think just grass type, all the grass types fall off super hard. All right, Goomba. Goomba, I want to be good, but Goomba he just can't do it. Very low defense in a world with a lot of physical attackers is just not going to lend well. If you win the ability coin flip and you get runaway instead of quick feet, you can switch out on after you click no retreat. But outside of that, I mean, however, when it comes to early game goats, we have to talk about Horned Ant Trooper. Horned Ant Trooper excels in a way that I could not believe. But this is a bug steel type with the shield dust ability, meaning you are immune to flinches, any secondary effects. You get the metronome in World 2, and then this guy gets Fury Cutter, and you just slice away. He sweeps the second, the third, the fourth gym. He is teetering. He is teetering on greatness. You know, for right now, I'll keep him here. Oh, my beloved. A Mon that I used so well that it got nerfed. Honestly, this Mon's existence is why I thought Gooper Blooper was going to be down here, because I think Porcupuffer does what Gooper Blooper does, but just it's better. It's a super bulky, physically bulky Mon in a world of a lot of physical attackers. It gets Baneful Bunker. Yeah, it's also guaranteed. So you can basically every fishing rod encounter is guaranteed, so it gets extra points. It's pretty good into Toadsworth as well. Like, it's just good into all of them, and then it's really good in the champ fight. So I mean, the more I talk about it, the more I want to put it here. And then we have the GOAT, Big Blarg. A Mon so good that when I used it in my first playthrough, we realized that Gyarados just simply would not work in the Mario universe. Blarg is simply too good. And even now that it doesn't evolve until level 40, which is 20 levels later than it used to. This still is one of the best encounters in the game just because it is so good. A fire dragon type with insane physical defense. It doesn't have Intimidate anymore, but it was already so physically bulky that Intimidate was just icing on the cake. I think it's almost mandatory to bring either this or one of the other 4 times fire resists that we'll talk about later. But yeah, this guy, I mean, this is Mr. Mario. This is the face of Mariomon right here. It has to be S tier. Okay, Parabitty Buddy. This is gonna make me move Goomba Stack up. These two cannot exist in the same tier. It's a Hustlemon. It's a normal flying type. This is honestly this game's Pidgey. It's just not good. It has Hustle. Sniffit is an interesting one and also very hard to rate right now because by the time you're watching this, Sniffit will have gone through a major change. Right now, it is a strong physical attacker and it is soon to be a strong special attacker. So, yeah, he'll be right here. We'll stay in B tier. Fuzzy. God, I love Fuzzy. I'm so biased. Another Mon that I used on my original team that I don't want to overrate. I mean, it's a schooling Mon, so it's just a huge stat check. As soon as it comes online, it has probably the strongest mid game of any Pokemon. Like, if this is the strongest early game Mon, this is the strongest late game Mon, this is probably the strongest mid game Mon, which makes me want to put it in like A tier. It just has such a good move pool. It can hit things on their special side with like Bug Buzz. It also gets attack order, defend order. I don't know. Fuzzy gets such good moves. Lava Drop. This is just, I mean, look, these two guys look the same. How can you expect the pre-evolution of Blarg to be anywhere but D tier? It's supposed to evolve into something that's good. But unfortunately, Lava Drop does not get that pleasure. Major Burrows. Major Burrows feels like it should be such a good capture. I think he kind of peaks in the mid game as well, just not as strong as Fuzzy. Like, he peaks when this is him in his peak form. You would think that he would be insane into Peach, who's this, you know, normal fairy type Elite Four member, but they all have fire type, like special fire coverage, so it's just hard for Major Burrows to thrive. I feel like the way that it should. So Thwomp, on the other hand, Thwomp I thought was like, hey, maybe this guy could be up here. Insane defenses. Let me see what his defenses are. 175 defense and 60 special defense with 100 HP. So bro is living. I think this is a really good Mon. I could see it being like bottom of A. I think just being able to wall so many physical threats in this game is really, really valuable. And Thwomp can just kind of do that. And I think if you just did a full run where you had Thwomp and that was like its role, I think it would do that. I would think it would do that role very well. Womp, on the other hand, is just worse Thwomp. You're not bringing it to the E4. It's not good in the Bowser, I don't think, really. It's just too slow. It's too slow, and by this point, everything's gonna have like coverage moves to hit you with. So King Boo. King Boo feels really strong. This has been champed more than any Mon in the entire game, and I think casuals flock to it for a reason. It has arguably the strongest early game because it's completely immune to Peach's normal type attacks if you get this guy in Peach's Garden. Yeah, the more I'm looking at, I think we need to do this. I think, sorry, Horned Ant, but these two are just in such a tier of their own that it would feel wrong to put these guys next to them. It can just stay on your team the whole time. There's never going to be any reason to take this thing off. It's just such a good pivot, you know. It's got so many immunities. You can probably bring this in for free so many times. Bait moves consistently. Like, oh, it's just, I could gush about these two forever. Dino Rhino, on the other hand, there's not much to gush about. He's like the 4th string fire type. Yeah, I think that is part of the issue. By the time Dino Rhino comes online, Blarg is also online. So it's like, why are you ever using this? Its one shining moment is that it stomps on Pauline, but that's literally what every single fire type does. So, oh baby. Okay, well, we're almost into crazy territory, but before we get there, we have to talk about Rex, who is a defeatist Mon in a world that is not very kind to him. It gets Dragon Dance, so like you think that it's going to be this incredible Dragon Dance sweeper, but then you get hit into defeatist and you cry, but it's I think better than these guys. And here we have the Yoshis. All the Yoshis. Let's actually just bring them all. Let's like bring them all in. Yube is such a hard thing to rank. This might be the best Elite Four Mon in the game. If we were just ranking Yube, it would be here. But the problem with Yube is that you have to have Yoshi up until the very last gym of the entire game. And so you are stuck with Yoshi when you've had these guys since potentially World 3. That is a huge trade-off, and one that I don't know is particularly worth it. Its E4 presence alone, I think, makes it at least B tier, probably A tier. Yellow Yoshi, who I think is the best one, can also do that. Yellow Yoshi could do that, but a little bit better. It gets Earth Eater, so it's immune to ground moves. It is incredibly physically bulky, and it gets soft-boiled, so it gets its own self-healing. Red Yoshi, again, the fire types in this game are just so good. So, like, he's, like, on par with King Bob-omb. The big difference between this Yoshi and the other Yoshis is this guy gets workup. So this guy can set up, sweep a lot of fights that some of the other Yoshis can't. Blue Yoshi, this is the one I used in my initial playthrough. A rare special attacker in a world of a lot of physical attackers. Its move pool just kind of sucks. And like we said, there's a lot of rock and steel types in this game who resist, guess what? Flying types. I think when you look at it compared to all the other Yoshis, it's just definitely the worst one. Birdo, I think, is the most interesting encounter in the entire game because it's a trade Evo. And it's a trade Evo with another crazy mon, Pyoro. And Pyoro is also a trade Evo if you trade a Gushin for Pyoro, which you can trade for Birdo. So, it's so hard to say. I mean, Birdo has one of the best end games. Bottom of S, no, I don't think it can be that high. Just because it doesn't do anything until like the last two. Like, it's basically Yube. I mean, it is very good. Do not get me wrong. I think if it got better pixelate moves, it would easily be S tier. But you are giving up one of the strongest encounters in the entire game, which we'll just rank right now. Mollusque Lancieur. This guy has 140 HP, 55 attack, 90 defense, 110 special attack, 100 special defense, and 25 speed. You are not killing this thing. This thing is not dying. This thing gets to live forever. So this is the trade-off if you want Birdo guaranteed. And I think that is where I just can't bring myself to put Birdo in S tier because this mon is going to be so good. Free third gym, free fourth gym, like you just have a free mid game when you have this guy. Yeah, there might be too many mons in A tier. That's the thing about Mariomon is there's a lot of good mons in this game. Mama, the very last capture that was added to the game, it's basically just Yube, but worse in like every way. You get it at the same time as Rex, and it kind of fills the same role, so it's just gonna go there. Amazy Daisy, despite having 140 special attack, this thing is the frailest guy that you will ever see. 30 defense. This guy is in D tier. This guy sucks. Iron Cleft. It has sturdy. It has shell smash and sturdy. So, you know, you can maybe get some shell smash sweeps. I think this is a mon that really, my opinion of it would be different if I were to do a full run through instead of just like testing in all the boss battles like I did. A fast guy that hits pretty hard. You know, overall, he's just like okay most of the time. I think he could be a budget E4 bring. Oh, Bonsai Bill. We should have the shiny one on deck because everybody is going to have one of these. It's one of the fastest mons in the game. I think it transforms. Like when you first get Bonsai Bill, it is very powerful. You could even, it's a steel type with levitate. So it has, first of all, it's a great typing with a great ability. I think it's a little bit better than Major Burrows, honestly. Yeah, if you really want to abuse shiny claws, you could in theory have an infinite amount of these. So maybe it's an S tier guy. Ghost. I mean, this is just Ditto, which means it's bad. It's slightly better than what Ditto would be. It can be very funny against Giga Bowser, but that's all poor Ghost has going for it. I think if you're using Ghost, you're working harder than you need to. Bruiser. I wish you got Bruiser earlier. I think you're going to be using this guy more so to just fight off like random trainers, and then it does not fare as well in a lot of the boss fights. I think if I did a full playthrough where I wasn't doing a King Bob-omb run, I think Bruiser would actually be... I might put Bruiser like closer up to here, but from what I've seen, he has not had the best go round. Charge and Chuck. You will not use this in your Nuzlocke, I promise you. You get this guy at the very end of the game. Nobody has champed this guy. Somebody please send me a screenshot of you beating a Nuzlocke with Charge and Chuck, because I think it has some really fun stuff. Okay, Penguin. I don't like Penguin. This guy deserves to be chucked off. I feel like every move this guy has, Blizzard, Icicle Crash, he just misses them all the time. There are good ice types in this game. Penguin is just not one of them. Spike Top, on the other hand, is pretty dang good. Insane split defenses. So it basically never dies. It gets obstruct. I mean, it can just be a big disruptor. It gets spikes. I think this has to be an A tier. Yeah, I think Thwomp and Spine Top are like destined to be next to each other. They feel very similar to me. Lakitu. Lakitu to me is just a worse Spike Top, and it's Steel Flying, which you would think is, I mean, it is a great typing. It probably peaks at Waluigi. The poison immunity is super nice. I don't know. I just feel like that is where it peaks, and then it just is super mid from that point on. So you get to go in the mid tier. Clubba. Clubba is kind of wild to me. This guy gets Swords Dance and Stamina. So if you just slap rest onto this guy, there is a good chance that they will feed you stamina buffs as you boost yourself up to +6 attack, and then you just sweep the fight. And then obviously it's normal steel, so if you get hit with any stray fighting type move, say bye-bye to Clubba. But I mean, overall, he's kind of good. I don't know. I mean, Clubba, by the time you get him, he sweeps like most of the fights that you'd bring him to, which is crazy. Paratroopa and Dry Bones. I want to kind of consider them as one Koopa. Also, I just love this sprite. I mean, bro is stanced up. So Dry Bones is obviously the Wonder Guard Mon. Dark Ground is hit by more types super effectively than Shedinja's Bug Ghost is. So from what I've found is that Dry Bones is god awful. Every boss enemy team, I would say 80% of their Mons can hit Dry Bones for super effective damage. In theory, Dry Bones should be amazing, but it really doesn't get to do a whole lot. Paratroopa, on the other hand, does get to do a lot. Koopa, this guy right here, can absolutely pop off in the early game. I think Koopa has one of the strongest early games. And then by the time you get Paratroopa, oh, not only do you get Paratroopa, you also get Dry Bones as well. And I think Koopa, we'll rank Koopa since you kind of get a 2-for-1. I think it needs to be pretty high. Now we're ranking Plungello. Maybe like the hidden boss. I feel like Plungello stocks have never been higher. It completely cleans up Bowser's Castle. So, you know, the fighting types that clean up all of Bowser Castle. But it's better than these fighting types. It just takes too long to get going. I think if you got this thing way earlier, it would be incredible. Speaking of incredible, we have, in my opinion, the second best Intimidate user, Chain Chomp. Intimidate in a world full of physical attackers is very, very nice. 130 attack, 110 defense, even 70 special defense is very respectable. For when you get him in the game, like he's just online and he's always good. I think it's probably here. I think it's like slightly, it doesn't have the E4 value that these guys. Oh, Birdo, you're trying to sneak into the S tier? I'm onto you. But yeah, I think this is the second best Intim user. And do I want to jump ahead? I don't want to jump ahead yet. I don't want to jump ahead. No, we're jumping ahead. All right, the #1 Intim user in the game is Mawray. This is a guaranteed encounter with Super Rod. So as long as you just save one fishing route, you get this thing guaranteed. Oh my God, is this thing powerful? It gets coil, so it has setup, and as if one Intimidate wasn't enough, just coil yourself up. Then you never have to worry about missing Aqua Tails. You have insane defenses. This is going to be our third S tier Mon. I think this is an S tier Mon. I think you should always route for this. It also gets great coverage. It gets ground type moves. It gets dark type moves. It gets just a lot of stuff. And with the way that you can mix and match sets in this game, like you are always going to be able to have something to hit basically every single boss fight in the game for super effective damage. Now let's get back to form. We're going back down the tier list. Hammer Bro, it's kind of like Ditto. I mean, it's just a gimmick Mon. Forecast, it's just hard to use. I mean, if you want to build your team around Hammer Bro, like that's fine, but I think it's just too much work. It's too much work for one guy, and then therefore you are destined to be D tier. T-Rex. So we've covered a few really good Intimidate users. I feel like T-Rex should be so much better than it is. I just don't think it gets like enough crazy moves to really utilize. It feels like the worst Intimidate mon. Placing the real life dinosaur into C tier doesn't feel correct. Here, I'll throw it at the bottom of B tier. Really, I think in a full playthrough, I think T-Rex would feel better. Taifu. Taifu is one of my favorite mons, like design-wise. It's an ice fairy type. Very strong start. I think it's one of the best mons you can get for Daisy. I like this guy into the E4. I think this guy can be very good into the E4. So just on that merit alone, I kind of want to put it like low B tier, just because I think if you're good into the E4, I think you at least deserve some credit. And I don't think really any of these mons are great into the E4. Uproot, on the other hand, feels very bad. It's a disguise mon, but yeah, 7 weaknesses with 1 4 times weakness. It's just a rough go round for Uproot. I don't know. Your disguise can only save you for so long. I think this is one of the worst mons in the game. It feels very similar to a Mazy Daisy, where you'd think that it has some sauce, but it just gets hit and it dies. Trollin' Stew. On principle, I almost want to just rate this guy low because he has innards out. But in practice, I should rate him low because he sucks. Yeah, I'll put it right below Goomba stack. That feels appropriate. The water type Goomba and the big Goomba stack can be together. Chincho. Somehow this normal ghost type with 520 BST does not feel good. I don't know what it is. He just dies. Everything I want to use this guy against, it just dies. It feels like I shouldn't be able to put him in D tier, but I think I'm going to put him in D tier. He just dies all the time. I've seen other Nuzlockers use him. He died then too. So I feel like it's not even just me.
Chincho, you suck! What the fuck?
All right, and then we have another S tier guy, Superfly. This guy is banned into Ubers in competitive Mariomon singles, and it will just sweep almost every single fight in the game. It's got Unburden, and it's got Belly Drum. So you just want to click the Belly Drum button, eat your little berry, and then you sweep every fight in the game with acrobatics. Pretty much does what Yub does in the E4, except you can do it all the entire game. It also gets Drain Punch. So you just belly drum and then you just get all your health right back. So it might even be better than Blargon. This guy might be the best guy in the game. Parabini! Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga is one of my favorite games of all time. Parabini is not one of my favorite Mariomon captures of all time. Super strong early game, but all grass types have super strong early game. That's why I thought PD was going to be so good. I slapped the Bullet Seed TM on this guy and he sweeps the first 2 gyms. It's so crazy. And then he starts falling off. I go, oh no, I'm dropping down the tier list. Oh, somebody stop him. Where is he gonna land? Oh, PD, no, don't do it. Okay. Whew. All right, he avoided D tier. All right, Wiggler. Another fighting type. He's just not one of the goats. He's just not Superfly. He feels like bruiser territory to me. I think that's the difference. These are the fighting types that don't get set up. The fighting types that get set up, I mean, this guy gets work up, this guy gets bulk up, this guy gets belly drum unburden. So where a lot of these other fighting types are going to be able to sweep fights, Wiggler, bruiser, they just can't do it because they just don't have the ability to. One fighting type that 100% can sweep a lot of fights is Trunkle. Trunkle is amazing. I would say it's kind of slower paced version of Superfly. Gets bulk up, drain punch. It does some good stuff in the E4. Sweeps Toadsworth. I think it's good in the champ fight as well. I think it's really good in the champion fight, actually. I think this might be bottom of A for me. I think Trunkle is very, very good. Yeah. Shrewboyd. The very first Mariomon capture to ever get nerfed. Well before the game even existed. And boy, does it show. You get Black Sludge very early. That's another thing I didn't mention about Porcupuffer, which, oops. But yeah, you do get Black Sludge extremely early as World 3. You do get to do the funny corrosion strats against Waluigi, and then it doesn't work nearly as well against Pauline, so it's just like okay. It's like on swoop tier. Honestly, a lot of the poison types feel very similar in this game. And then you have Porcupuffer, who's stands amongst them as the best one. Crystal King. Crystal King is in a really unique case as it's like the only It's basically the only special setup sweeper in the entire game. You just get it so late is the issue. I think if you position this thing well, actually, no, I think if you position this thing well, it probably is better than Trunkle. It's probably better than all these guys, actually. Crystal King on the right teams, I think it'd be insane. Pidgeot is something I could never see being insane. You're also getting this in Nature's Reserve where you could get Puro instead. So the trade-off there, I mean, there's also like Cataquack and Muncher. This is definitely the worst of those. Oh, we're getting all the bad stuff, huh? And I think, unfortunately, this is where it's time to add our, it's time for the F tier. We need the stinky F tier. Huff and Puff is just god-awful. You don't get it for a really long time. When it's Tough Puff, it just does absolutely nothing. And even when it comes online, it still sucks. Man, in a normal playthrough, is this guy bad. All right, we had to add 1 tier at the bottom, and now we have to add 1 tier at the top. This is the best capture in the entire game. For one sick trick, doctors hate him. It's called Electrify with the ability Lightning Rod. This is a physical attacker, but it doesn't care. This is the fastest mon in the game. It is the fastest mon in the game who could spam Electrify, get up to +6 attack, and then just spam Thunderbolt. It is probably ban-worthy. Like, if you want to have fun playing your Nuzlocke, I don't think you should use Spark. Yeah, just not very fun. Not very fun, but it is incredibly broken. So this is the best capture in the game. Hand Fake. The Illusion Mon, pure dark type, insane attack. I think when you first start using it, it's like, wow, this thing hits hard. And then it gets power crept pretty quickly. And you're like, man, this thing that was sweeping everything no longer does. I think similar to type, I think these are all Mons that I think are better than I experienced in my playtests, but I respect them enough to bump them up. Snoozorb. Ugh. Snoozorb is like the opportunity cost Pokemon. So this is a Truant Mon. So you would have to use your 1 free ability patch on this, but it's like, wow, this is a lot of investment for this guy. And you're using your casino encounter, which need I remind you that Spark exists? Thinking of it through the lens of a Nuzlocke, why would you ever take Snoozorb? So honestly, I think I'm going to put it in F tier. I think you're actively sabotaging your run if you're investing that much in Snoozorb, so I think it has to be F tier. I think both of these two are phenomenal because I think Happy Moon really comes on later. Dark Fairy is great. And then Angry Sun as a drought user, the Sunsetter, I mean, he really just sets the sun for himself and then he just goes insane. Angry Sun is very powerful. I think I'm putting Angry Sun in S tier. I think being able to have a weather setter, and this guy is just a weather setter that you get very early on, potentially. It is hard to get, though. That is the one issue. But if you do get this guy, your run is set. I think you are in great shape. Happy Moon, on the other hand, it has Shadow Shield as an ability, which is insane. Gets very good moves. Like, this thing only gets better and better and better. I think this guy has to be in A tier at least. Of course, I was delaying the inevitable. We have to talk about Lubba. Lubba is so hard to rank. You don't get it until very, very late. This is a Psychic Fairy Blissey. It has Wish support. If there were more special Mons in the game, I think it would be very, very powerful. I think it could be, you know, top of A. It doesn't dish out much damage, if any at all. We'll put you with this is the hidden, the hidden power Mons. All right, Starbag, fast encore user, parting shot guy. This is Mr. Utility, good as gold. There are going to be so many instances where fast encore can just save you, and I think that is deserving of like B tier in itself. Oh baby, we've made it. Look who it is. Look who it is. The shit tier. These are the 4 worst Mons in the game, and I think they deserve their own tier. Yeah, I mean, these guys, they're just the worst. Like, Eerie is the worst encounter in the entire game. This thing does nothing. This thing will do nothing. It's funny Parish song, Parish trap, but it has very low stats. It just doesn't do anything. It's so bad. And then the viruses, I mean, this is your casino encounter. Why are you wasting your casino encounter on these guys? I think there's just much better casino encounters. Like, okay, we're skipping ahead a little bit, but I do want to talk about Mecha Chomp. Mechachomp is what I would always take in Casino if we're not using Spark. Steel Electric typing is just very strong. You do get an air balloon in World 5, so if you're worried about getting hit with stray ground type attacks, there you can always pop that onto this dude. It gets set up with Shift Gear. I think this guy's pretty good. I would even venture to say that it's probably like an A tier mon. Muncher, the people's champion. Unfortunately, much like Parabini, this is a grass type that falls victim to being insane early game, but falling off super hard late game to the point where it's almost impossible to bring it to any late game fights. So Muncher, we're gonna put you right next to your friend here. I'm liking the way this is coming together though. Oh shoot. Puro, the hardest nerf mon in the entire game. Again, like he is in the weird trade-off thing where if you get Puro, would you rather have Birdo? I think in most cases you probably would. I think if you get this guy Natty in Nature's Reserve, you just keep him. But if you just want Birdo, you should go the trade route. But it's still it's just the fall from grace. What once was such a powerful mon has really fallen off, and unfortunately I think it's like down here. Okay, Magikoopa, this was probably one of the this is another instance where I really thought Magikoopa was going to be one of the strongest mons in the game, and it just really isn't. Transmutate is super interesting. I was like, oh, that seems like that is a new ability to this game, which is like Aerialate but for psychic type moves, but you really only get to use Tri Attack, and early on when you first get it, it's insane, but it just really starts to fall off. Okay, you already know where I'm putting Magikoopa. I think Magikoopa should be better. I think Magikoopa should be better than all of these guys, honestly. I think Magikoopa should be like in here somewhere. This is where I thought it was going to be. This is Mr. Potential. This is the what if guy. Ooh, Mad Piano. Mad Piano is so interesting. This is another one that you can guarantee if you want. It's in Nudonk Sewers. It's another Intimidate user. I think it's probably the third best Intimidate user. I think it has to be A tier. I think the good Intimidate users just have to be A tier at the very least. Not quite as good as Chain Chomp. I think I'd still rather have the Steel type. The Steel type profile works a lot better in this game than the Ghost typing does. All right, Mr. Blizzard. Mr. Blizzard, more like Mr. Elite Four. This is a super good Elite Four guy. I feel like it's very hard to find mons that match up well into the Champions Mare. Mr. Blizzard gets Freeze Dry, and the snow boosts its defense, and it also gets Aurora Veil. Like, this dude's pretty good. This guy would automatically bump all of the ice types up a tier if you just made the full ice type team. I think his E4 performance straight up puts him up here. Heave Ho, a fan favorite. Gets Galvanized, which is really cool. I think Heave Ho is a much better like VGC mon than it is in a Nuzlocke. Electric types that aren't Spark, just like I said, there's just not a whole lot of water types or flying types in this game. Doesn't have the upside. It's probably a C tier guy. Scuttlebug. Okay, Scuttlebug is another one. Much like Sniffit, it's going to be very hard to rank. There's going to be a patch that is already out by the time you're watching this video. So this guy was a bug fighting type, and now it is just keeps the typing of its pre-evolution Skeeter, so it's still a water bug type. It's actually kind of solid. All things considered, Scuttlebug is one of the best early game mons. It's pretty good. I think it's at least I think it's better. We'll keep these guys together. They can either go up or down depending on their new iterations. We're getting close. Mr. I, it's F tier. Don't even talk to me about Mr. I. Bro's got 5 speed. That's all you need to know. Spindrift. You can get this in 1-1 if you're playing in the Nuzlocke mode, and like all the other grass types, that's where it shines the most. It's also a fairy type. You'd think that it would be able to do more, but man, does this thing fall off. I thought this was going to be one of the best captures in the entire game. If you get this in World 5, it is just bad the entire time that you use it. So I will put it with its little former grass fairy friend, Amazy Daisy. I love Spindrift the first 3 splits of the game, and then it just fell off hard. Boss Brolder, the Peach Sweeper. That is what we might as well just rank Brolder, because that is really all this dude is known for. The strongest start to the hardest fall off you could imagine. Completely sweeps Peach, the freest Peach sweep of them all. But then, man, you just get immediately shut down by Daisy, and then it really doesn't do anything. But once it comes back online, I gotta say, I was kind of surprised that Boss Boulder was doing some stuff. Boss Boulder fills this really weird niche of like doing really well into stuff like Magic Koopa. I think you could bring this as an E4 bring. The Kamek fight is tough, and I think Boss Boulder would be really solid into it. Basically, after you beat Peach, you box this thing until it gets Sizzly Slide in like the E4. But these were the last two in my box. Twister is super interesting. The last weather setter, the sand setter, I think it could operate on its own. It's very fast. It hits special. It has a very high special attack. I think Twister is really good into Kamek. I think Twister is good into the champion fight. I think Twister is good into... I think Twister is just really good in the E4. Yeah, I mean, if you can build your team... If you get Twister and you build your team around it, I think it's very solid. I mean, we have Angry Sun in S tier. I think somebody's going to get moved up to S tier, and I think I have an idea of who it's going to be. Yux has some extremely funny stuff. Here's the issue with Yux, though. Where Yux would be at its absolute peak, you would have to spend 9,999 coins in the casino. In a way, it almost feels like it should go here. But Yux can do way, way more than this dude can. Yux has the hilarious minimize barrier stored power set. So you just never get hit, you never die, and then you launch off extremely powerful stored powers. So simply because of that, it's like B tier for me. If you're willing to shell out the cash, I think it could be very fun. If we had to move one capture up to S tier, who would that capture be? I mean, if we're strictly looking at scores of Mons in my spreadsheet, it would be Horned Ant Trooper. And you know what? I'm going to give it to the little guy. This Mon, if you get this Mon, you will have gems 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. All just completely free. Like, that is so insane. I don't think any other capture in the game can do it like Horned Ant. Well, here it is. After 50 hours of testing and 2 hours of ranking, my tier list is finally complete. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, and I will be sure to argue with every single one of you. Once we're done engaging in civil disagreements, be sure to check out my full Nuzlocke run here so you can see where all of my personal biases were born.